Hey guys, it's your Kovto here and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now today, we're starting off with Minecraft, but if you want to immediately get into the Nuzlocke video, you just skip to 5 minutes and go from there. Now, both videos were very fun, but I just wanted to kind of go into what I was doing throughout the last couple weeks gaming-wise. I didn't get to do a lot of gaming, but with what I did, here's what happened. Yes, that's right, guys. For the past week, I had been playing Minecraft on a realm with my friends for a bit, and I just wanted to be able to show you guys what I had been working on. So we go from the top of my house all the way to the bottom, just kind of going through each area. I want to make a little underground area underneath because there's a cave at the bottom of my house, but the sugarcane farm's to the left, and yeah, that's where the cave is. You know, it's pretty cool when I have an entrance that is above the water, so the water's just going over top of everything. But there's a lot of build ideas with that as well. And if you guys want to see more content like this and more content with Minecraft, then let me know, because I would love to make more with this world and just kind of record all the builds and everything I do with it, because I'm definitely going to end up spending a lot more time in this area. I just want to be able to share these journeys with you guys, be able to share stories with you guys as I'm going about all of this, and just kind of show you where my mind has been these past couple weeks. And of course, I managed to get the 4 horsemen spawn, but my friend took one of them, and then my friend also decided to save me this zombie horse inside a thing of dirt. And he was just floating in water, so I was able to put armor on him, and I named him Jamal with the 9. But then we start going over to my sugarcane farm area. I had just finished this, but I think it looks really nice, and they do a very good job collecting them, but I set up 4 in that area, and then we have my nether portal behind that. There's a little thing over there, but don't worry about that. But the sugarcane farms are just amazing. There's some bamboo over there that we don't need to really worry about. And yeah, don't worry about that statue. It's made by the other friends in the realm, and it's just gonna stay there. It's a little monument. And then we have the bee farm at the bottom there that I'm eventually going to get with a silk touch pickaxe or something, and then I'm going to make a bee farm area, but I don't know exactly where I'm going to put that yet. Now that was basically it for my area, so we're gonna go ahead and start sprinting towards the village farm, which is over this way. And it's not necessarily a village farm anymore, because most of the villagers are all just trading villagers for books and enchantment books. That's just the way to go about it if you want to be able to get all the enchants you want on your items. You just go do a raid in a village, get the hero achievement, and then you go over there, trade with them for all the books you need. That's the exact reason we made those sugarcane farms. But of course, before I got there, I saw all this kelp on the ground, and I just had to go collect it because I eventually need to use this to make a water elevator for the creeper farm, but I've been a very lazy man and I haven't felt like doing so. Of course, we finally make it to this area where we automatically see the iron golem, which meant we made obviously an efficient villager farm in this area, because we don't only have 1 iron golem, but there were 2 in this area. And that's Philip the cat. Haven't given him a name tag yet, but he's there just chilling. He's been in this area ever since I built it. But if we go on the inside, we'll see all the villagers that my friend worked on getting the trades for, just all in their little mine carts in the correct areas they need to be. And they're right next to their lectern, so they can just re-up on everything they need, which is perfect. And it's fenced in, so no mobs can get in that area, especially with all the light in there. And I made sure to add the chimneys for effect, because I just think they look nice on buildings and make the area just look so much better. But I eventually want to take all that sand behind the area and cover it with grass, so that the area just looks like a better terrain. I think we did a very good job with this area, but this is the villager breeding house that we had. We just put a bunch of bread in the chest and just had them go crazy, and then eventually my friend managed to get every single villager over to the other area, which is honestly miraculous. But if you guys made it this far, now be sure to like and subscribe. This is the only segment I need to ask about this. So like and subscribe, but without further ado, let's get into the Nuzlocke. Now here we are, starting a Nuzlocke in Pokemon White, where we meet Professor Juniper first, and then we go on to meet her Pokemon Minchao. And after the beautiful intro to the game, we finally get to the point where we meet Sharon and Bianca. And with that, we can finally pick our starter. Now, I'm also not gonna lie, guys, I am extremely scared for this Nuzlocke because Draiano, I know he does not play with the way he makes these gyms and challenges, so we're gonna have to really lock in for this and just pray that we get good natures and good Pokemon and just good team mechanics in general. But I believe we can do this, and of course, in this video, we get to the first gym, but you're gonna see what happens. And honestly, I think we have a very good chance for this run, and I can't wait to go further with this. And yeah, during that time, we chose our starter Tepig, because I felt like in this we were going to need a good fire-type Pokemon to kind of just start off our team. So we went with Tepig in the beginning, and then immediately started off these fights. Now, I won't lie, I had to go through this first segment of the game about, I want to say, 5 times in total, which was driving me nuts because I just got very unlucky on the rolls of Tepig each time. But once we got this run going, I knew that we were going to cook something up. After finally beating Bianca, I realized I might have a chance with this run. And so, with the room messed up, we speed through the speech and immediately go to battle Sharon, which I was not ready for this fight, but we went on and did it anyways and just hoped for the best. But surprisingly, it goes pretty well. I go on to use Tail Whip to lower his defense a couple times, and then I go for tackles just to deal good initial damage, and I roll very good damage, so from there I know I can finish off this fight with ease. Now, closing out this fight, we're finally able to go talk to our mom, which is, you know, all of our favorite parts of the Pokemon, is the beginning of the game where you run downstairs and you immediately have to go talk to your parent in the game because they're going to give you items. But all of us stand there to talk. They say that they're going to the Pokemon lab, but I knew we had to go to the Bianca's house first, so we headed there before doing anything else. I still like that they added so much story into these games. I mean, it just added so much to these playing it as a kid. But, you know, we go on to go into the Pokélab to where we can get our Pokédex and everything else. But I was just extremely excited to go on this journey. I'd been waiting to do a Nuzlocke for a while, and it was really hard to choose what game I wanted to go into. But I felt like Blaze Black would be one of the perfect ones to go into. So we started off with that, and I still have a lot of faith for this. My only thinking was to make this a journey where I'm finally able to let you guys get to know me a little bit, you know? I'm able to finally tell you guys about what my actual thinking is through the game and how I strategize and everything, and I want to be able to just play Pokemon the right way and actually enjoy it. But going into our first encounter, we got Bidoof. And, you know, I feel like Bidoof is just a very good Pokemon, but when I started attacking him, I realized that his nature was moody. So he randomly buffs and debuffs one of his stats every time he moves, which could be useful in some cases, but I want to make sure I get an item on him where he has almost 100% accuracy, so we don't have to deal with any problems in that regard. But with that, we go ahead and throw a Pokeball at Bidoof, and Bidoof joins the team. Now, I forget what I named him, but eventually I'll go back to the file, and next video I will show you guys the names for every single Pokemon. But we are finally able to make it to the Pokemon Center, where we learn that this lady, Nurse Joy, heals our Pokemon. I mean, who would have known? And then they go ahead and show us that the Pokemart is inside the Pokemon Center, and I never liked that they did this during this game, because it made no sense to me, and I would rather have them as 2 separate shops like they normally are. I mean, it just makes so much more sense. But after we walk outside the Pokemon Center, we run into this guy named Getsis, who's on this team called Team Plasma or something. Like, I guess there's gonna be an entire story with him, guys. No, there is. There's an entire backlying story, but I'm sure you all know the story that lies beneath with them. He goes on to say a bunch about liberation and how Pokemon hold a bunch of power that we don't know about. But, who knows about all this malarkey this man's going on? I just wanted to get through it and get on with the Nuzlocke. And after all this talking, we met this guy named N while we were talking with Sharon after everything. And he asked us about me and our Pokemon and how they're talking to us, which was very questionable. But then we go straight into a fight with him. And I was a little prepared for this, knowing that it would be a pretty easy fight with Tepig and Bidoof because we're reversing Nincada and a couple other Pokemon. But we go in with Stomps to go in with the Ember, and then we go from there. We end up being able to easily one-shot the Nincada, and with that, Stomps grew to level 8, and he was about to send in Mankey. Now, I was a little worried about this fight, so I go in and send out Stomps and go back into Barbecue, which is what I named my Bidoof, because I just felt like it was right. I mean, I know he'll be able to cook some up, so I go in starting off with Tackles, and as my attack rises, my accuracy lowers, which is extremely annoying because that's exactly what I don't want to happen. It makes it a lot harder to hit my attacks, but with a double boosted attack after that, I go ahead and go for the Tackle once again, which ends up bringing the Mankey to about 1 health. If we thought I was going to get rid of Barbecue during this very moment, no. We go for one more Tackle to get the KO on Mankey, which boosts Barbecue to level 6. And in which, once N is sending out his next Pokemon, I decide to keep Barbecue in just so he can gain some XP, but we go into the switch with Stomps to finish off this fight. And of course, right after sending out Stomps, I immediately go for the Ember, because I felt like Ember was going to do a lot of decent damage in this and I could possibly get a burn off. And seeing that it did over half health, I decided to do it one more time, knowing I'd finish the KO here and finish off the fight with ease. And with Barbecue growing to level 7, we finish off the fight with N, in which I feel like we became a little closer with him during that. But our mom had to come give us running shoes, and we're finally able to get our next encounter, which ends up being Mankey. And I was so excited about this one because I felt like he was going to be very useful for this team during this Nuzlocke. He does scare me with how much he ends up injuring Barbecue, so we immediately go into the switch into Stomps and hoping that we can still catch this Mankey during this. And I felt like using the move I did during this was definitely a mistake when I caused a burn on him after using Ember. But with that, I noticed we had a more critical chance to get the catch on him. So I immediately went into my bag and threw a Pokeball, knowing I couldn't deal any more damage to this Mankey. And with that, Mankey automatically joined the team, which means he wanted to join this team. But we immediately go to the Pokemon Center to heal Mankey, and then we go into our first battle with a normal trainer, in which he sends out Hoot, and I go in with Barbecue to start off. Going into this first fight, we go out with a switch of Barbecue because I just want to be able to get as much XP to each Pokemon as I can. So we go into Mankey during this time, which, he was just the right choice. And we named him Swipes because, Swiper knows swiping. Dora the Explorer reference, yes, I know. And he immediately gets put to sleep, which made me very mad because, a Hoot with Hypnosis is just extremely annoying to fight, but we end up getting the one low kick in which he goes for a tackle, and then we're able to outspeed and get one more in. Which, after that, we go to our next trainer battle, in which I was way more prepared for this one, guys, because he sends out Lillipup to start, but we immediately went out with Mankey. Now, during this time, I realized that I wanted to plan a very good team composition during this Nuzlocke. I wanted to be prepared for each fight, make sure I was going down with as few losses as possible, and so before the first gym, I decided that I think I'm going to catch something in the area where you can get Muna, but of course that automatically knocks out Muna being one of the encounters, but at the end of the day, I think that's completely fine because then we go into the first gym with 4 Pokemon rather than 3, because with 3 I feel like it would be a lot harder during this time. But that was just my thinking and my process during this. I wanted to kind of plan my team comp, be prepared for every fight, just so we're not losing any Pokemon, we're not losing any team members, and we're just making sure we're doing this very thoroughly. And after finally taking out 2 of his Pokemon, we go into Weedle, where I realized Mankey's low kick was not going to be enough during this fight, so we start going in with scratches instead just to keep the XP on him, because I wanted to level up Mankey as much as I possibly could. Now, I didn't expect Weedle to have Poison Tail on him, but after he hit me with that, we hit one more scratch, and we level up Swipes to level 10 and finish the fight. Now, of course, this doesn't end the amount of fights we have to do in this route, so I check my team to make sure everyone's good, and we just go straight into this fight with Bianca. I thought I was prepared enough for this, and I was just ready to go on, but I didn't know what Pokemon she was going to send out first, and she goes out with Meowth. Now, I went for a low kick during this time, but of course, Meowth uses Fake Out, so we flinch and we're not able to use anything. Now, of course, Meowth gets off the scratch, which brings Swipe 3 HP, but we get the low kick off first, which enables us to be able to switch into Barbecue, ensuring that we'll get the KO with Barbecue as well, directly after using Tackle. Of course, after Bidoof gets sent out, he gets hit with a Bite, and then his special attack gets rose and his speed falls. And I thought this Tackle would kill after getting hit with a Growl, but the Tackle unfortunately leaves Meowth with about 2 HP, in which we go in for another one, but then Bianca uses a potion to heal them immediately. So we go in for Tackle again, and we just continue to fight Meowth, continuing the same process over and over again. Sadly, this ends up going on for a while, in which we're just constantly fighting him, and we get flinched multiple times, and it was just not fun. But after he hits the last scratch and we get sent to 5 HP, I realize I have to switch out into Stomps to finish this fight off. Now, this is the point I was also getting a little bit worried about what was going on, because we had 2 Pokemon with not a lot of health left, but then I realized we were reversing a grass type at the end, so we were going to be perfectly fine. So I go in for the Ember on Meowth, get the KO, and we get XP on every single one of our team members. And then as Snivy comes out, I knew I had this fight in the bag. As Snivy uses Tackle, we use Ember and take it past half health, so we know with one more Ember we're going to get this KO and win the fight. Finishing off this fight, it did make me realize just how serious this Nuzlocke might get. Because, I mean, considering I had the type advantage during that at the end, I still honestly could have done a lot better during that fight, and I almost lost Barbecue and Swipes. And I don't want to deal with losing Barbecue and Swipes. But with that, we finished this part of the area, and we're able to finally enter the next town, which I was extremely excited about. Now, I am sorry that I forgot to cut out that entire part of me just sitting there for like 10 seconds, but I did want to be able to get through what I was talking about, so it helps with that. But after talking to Bianca, we head into Striaton City, where we talk to the shady guy behind the building where we get some dive balls. And directly after getting these dive balls, we immediately go to face off against Charon and the school. Now, I thought I was pretty prepared for this fight, and we're going to get into it, but you know, so far, I've really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed the story of this game a lot when I was a kid as well. Just going through it, being able to catch Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion, as well as I think Cresselia was part of Black 2 and White 2, but I also believe she might have been part of this game where you crossed the bridge and like you had a wing in your inventory or something, and then she spawned on the bridge, which was pretty cool. But a lot of this game was just very unique, and I enjoyed it. Now, of course, we easily took out her Starly with Stomps, and with that, he goes out to send out Oshawott, in which I send Stomps back in and go into Barbecue immediately. I thought Barbecue could take on this Oshawott pretty well, so we immediately go into using Tackles on Oshawott to see what we could do from there. I was pretty confident with this matchup as long as I didn't get any accuracy falls, but after our second Tackle hit, we hit him to about half health, so I knew with the next one hitting we were going to do some good damage. And we got him to about 3/4 of the way, and he healed up with the berry, but we just continue on. I do realize this is where I need to create a much better setup with Barbecue for this, so that he's able to deal a lot more crucial damage during fights, but I have a plan for that soon, so you guys will see in the next video. We decided to opt out for a switch into swipes during this moment though, because I realized the barbecue might not deal enough damage during this time. So we go into swipes where he gets tackled, and then from there, we go in with a low kick. Once that low kick hit, I knew I basically had this in the bag, but then he had a critical hit against me as well, but that maxed my attack, so I knew with the next hit I would deal an entire KO. And with that, we were able to easily beat Sharon, and I was extremely excited about this because I knew that we would finally be able to move on to the gym. So with that, we go to the Pokemon Center to heal our Pokemon, and then we decide to finally go into the gym. And I wasn't really prepared for this. That's why I was running around constantly, because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. But I decided to take on everyone in the gym, get to the gym leader, and then in the next video, I'm going to catch a 4th Pokemon for my team and then face off against them. Now, if you made it this far, I just wanted you guys to know, I really appreciate the support during my videos. It means the world to me, and all of your support helps. So any comment, any like, any subscribe, all of it helps. But when it comes down to it, I'm definitely going to make sure that I get a lot of content with this Nuzlocke posted for the next video. We're going to at least get to the 5th gym, and then I'll make one more video from there where we beat the game. I just wanted to have a consistent schedule with it, and I know I'd been slacking, but I really appreciate it to everyone that watches. And I'm really excited to go on with this and continue with it, because I see that in my eyes it's worth it, because I get to share this journey with everyone else around me, as well as just share my thoughts on how I play these games. Now, these gym battles end up being pretty easy, as we're just facing off against some very easy Pokemon to go against, but I really wanted to work on leveling up my team, so in this battle we send out Swipes to get some XP on him. But ultimately, guys, let me know if you are enjoying these videos. Let me know what you think I should do in the next ones, and if you want me to create Minecraft content as well, because I would love to create more videos on that game as well. I just realistically don't know if that's what the viewers would want. Now, if that is something that people would be interested in, I'll go about that as well, but we'll figure it out from here, and I'm just glad that I could post another video, get this out there. But we easily take out this Marill with Bidoof, and from there, we're finally able to beat the last person, which we also learned Rollout during this time, which is going to be very effective for Barbecue during this run, because I have a couple plans with that, as long as I make sure he has an item with no accuracy drop. Without further ado, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and come on, you knew this was going to happen, but we'll see you in the next one.